Okay, so today we're gonna talk about chapter 4. Before we do that, I'm gonna give you some information about exam 1. So there will be 40 multiple choices and it will be 40 points in total. It covers chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have about 10 questions each chapter. The questions will be based on both the textbook and the lectures. And I want you to focus on applying concepts to understand them, not just memorizing the definition. And also, please ask questions early instead of late, because if I get a ton of emails like the day before the exam, I might not have time to respond to everyone. So ask questions early. Okay, so so it should be chapter 4, it's a typo. Today we're gonna talk about attitudes mainly, and then we'll talk about how's that influencing our behavior. So attitude, usually when we talk about attitude in normal conversation, we're referring to this person as being negative or disagreeable, but we define attitude a little bit differently in psychology. So in psychology, when we say attitude, it is an evaluation towards an attitude object. This object can be a thing, can be an idea, can be people. So there's the valence of the attitude. So it means that your attitude can be either positive or negative. There's the strength, so your attitude can be either weak or strong. And your attitude, your evaluation, they can be your beliefs, your feelings, or your actions. And we're gonna talk about this in more details in the next slide. So there are 3 components in attitude. First, we have the cognitive component. So that's our thoughts or beliefs. For example, I believe that apple is good for us. That's a belief. That's my thought towards an apple. And then we have the affective component, and that will be our feelings and our emotions towards the object. For example, I say apple is my favorite. I love eating apples. So I'm expressing my feelings towards apples. Then we have the behavioral component. That will be a particular action towards the object. For example, I eat apple every day. That will be my action or my behavior towards the object. Right? So now I would like you guys to give me some examples of an attitude that's mainly based on cognitive components or affective components or behavior components. Okay. You can take a couple seconds to think about this. Yes?
I believe that running is good for you.
So which component would be
That would be cognitive.
cognitive? Very good. So yep. Very good. Okay. Is the test timed? Yes, the test will be timed. So it will be the same as your class time. So it's 50 minutes, right? So you have 50 minutes. And make sure you're there on time. When do we end our class? 10:10? Okay, so when it's 10:10, the exam will submit it by yourself, even if you haven't finished it yet. So make sure you're here on time. All right. Good question. So a couple examples for online students. Cognitive, I believe that vaccines protect you. Yes, that's a belief, that's a thought. Behavioral, I run 3 times a week. Very good. Affective is taking vaccines make me feel safe. Okay, so feeling safe, it's the feeling and the emotions part. Behavior, I stay up to date on my vaccinations. So that's a behavior. Very good, very good. Any examples from you guys? Yes.
For cognitive, you can say, I think that going to class will produce a better grade.
Yeah, very good. I agree with you on your attitude. All right. I'll take one more, and then we will go to the next slide. Yes.
I guess in reference to the other one, you could say for behavioral, like I do go to class every day.
Yeah, very good, very good. So usually our cognitive, our affective and behavior components of our attitude, they're consistent. Sometimes they can be mismatched, right? Okay, so where do attitudes come from? So when we have certain attitudes towards certain objects, first, it can come from genetic factors. So what we found is that identical twins share more attitudes than fraternal twins, even when the identical twins are separated. Right? There are some examples from your textbook of highly heritable attitudes, including abortion on demand, roller coaster ride, and death penalty for murder. Any questions on this part? So your attitude can come from or being heavily influenced by your genetic factors. No questions? So this kind of reminds me, or if you have any thoughts, that'd be great. When I was preparing the slides, this just reminds me there are a lot of policies, right, about death penalty, about abortion in the United States. And people hold very different opinions or views. Sometimes, if you don't agree with the other party, you're gonna be like, "Why are you so dumb?" Or "Why are you so evil?" Right? And sometimes you just can't really say that. Like you can disagree with each other, but when it gets to personal attack, like you're dumb or you're evil, that's unnecessary, in my opinion, because a lot of times it's heavily influenced by your genetics, and you can't really help it. So that's my thought when I was reading this, trying to apply what you see in psychology to daily life. So next time when you have discussions or arguments with a different party, tell them this, right? And try to be civil, right? Where do attitudes come from? It can also come from direct experience. So for example, we have the classical conditioning, which is the pairing of stimulus. Do you guys remember this? Classical conditioning? Yeah or no? Kind of. Okay, I'm gonna play this sound. How many of you are familiar with the sound? Okay, a lot, well, most of you. And you guys use iPhones, right? Okay, so what do you feel when you hear this sound? Do you have a certain emotion or no? Or certain attitude? Yes? Sadness? All right. What else?
Startled.
Startled, yeah. I hated it. A lot of my friends, when they hear this, they also hate it. Why? It's because this is the default ringtone for your alarm. So when you wake up or when you have something important and it's reminding you, usually that reminder is kind of stressful, right? You'd be like, oh, I gotta get up now. So before we have those experience, like just the ringtone itself, it shouldn't make us feel anything, right? It's just a ringtone. It should be neutral. When we hear it, we shouldn't feel startled or we shouldn't feel like annoyed. But after pairing the ringtone with our experience, which is kind of unpleasant, getting up or needs to rush to do something, gradually this stimulus becomes unpleasant as well. So that's classical conditioning. A lot of information nowadays, it's like making us feel something. It's because of classical conditioning. And now I want you to think about what stimulus in your life can be an example of classical conditioning. Yes.
So my mom's worked for Starbucks for most of my life, so every time I see the logo, I always think of like very warm, happy feeling, very safe feeling because it reminds me of mom.
Very good. Very good. Yes.
It's like the ice cream truck and if you really you can hear it and just get happy and excited.
Sorry, you say when you see the ice cream truck and.
Like when you hear the ice cream truck running through the neighborhood.
Oh, okay. So when you hear the music of ice cream truck and you feel happy.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I just couldn't hear you very clearly. That's why I was asking. Good example. So you pair ice cream truck music with ice cream, and you like ice cream, so you like the music. Okay, good example. Yes.
The generic text tone, whenever it like goes off in a like private room, like inclined to text your phone.
Oh, so you mean the
Yeah.
text ringtone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though it like might not even be
Yes.
hundreds of people.
Yes. So when you hear like the vibration of the ringtone, and then you tend to look at your phone. Very good. Very good. Oh, I stopped doing this, so I'm trying to do this again. I'm trying to remember names. Hope, Chaya, Riley. No. Ah, hold on. Kelly. Awesome. Sorry about that. Haley. Be a name. All right. You're not Jonathan. Nathaniel.
Yeah.
All right. And you're. Did I ask you your name before? Jay? Okay. Awesome. I'm getting good at this. Okay, social learning. This is something like operant conditioning. It's kind of similar to classical conditioning. What's the difference is this: when you do something, when you have certain behavior, you're getting either rewarded or punished from others, from either your peers or your parents or your instructors. All right. Any example of operant conditioning? Last time I gave you an example of giving you good feedback when you ask questions and you ask more questions. So that's operant conditioning. Yes?
Whenever we would do well in school or do well on a test, our parents would take us out for ice cream.
Okay. Does it work?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. You're easily satisfied. That's good. That's good. What else? Yes?
When you were little, if you would like completely clean your plate, then you were allowed to get dessert, but not until you had already cleaned your plate.
Very good. So when you clean your plate, you get dessert. So you get rewarded, and you're more likely to clean your plate. Very good. Very good. So you know the difference between operant conditioning and classical conditioning, right? Okay, make sure you know that. All right. Okay, so attitudes, they can exist at two levels. First, we can have an explicit attitude. Those attitudes are consciously held, and they're consciously expressed. Also, this kind of attitudes are controlled processing. Did I mention about controlled processing? I think it's in your textbook, right? Am I correct? Okay, good. I don't think I mentioned it in class, but it's in your textbook. So make sure you understand what I mean. So explicit attitudes, it's controlled processing. It's not from this chapter, right?
I think it is.
It's from this chapter? Okay.
It was from another chapter.
I think it's from a
It
previous
might be
chapter, right?
multiple times that they talked about it, but it was from a different one. too.
Okay, good. So sometimes I lost track. Okay, so make sure you understand that control processing. Also, your explicit attitudes are from more recent experience. On the other side, we have implicit attitudes. Those are involuntary and uncontrollable. They can be unconscious. You might not notice that you have the attitude. And they are automatic processing. They're more from your childhood. Now, I want you to think about this and give me some examples of explicit attitudes and implicit attitudes. I think it should be pretty straightforward, so I'll just let you speak up instead of discuss with each other. Okay, so for our online students, Alina says that expanding on the text tone, she has a specific text tone for each of her parents. So she will get annoyed hearing it. Like, what do they want? Okay, I kind of get it. So it's like getting annoyed. But from Gabriel, she says that racism would be an explicit attitude. Do you agree?
Well, I think racism can exist at both levels.
Yes. So racism can be both. Some people, they just tell you that they're racist. That's what we call blatant racism. And for the people who deny that they are racist, but they actually are, maybe unconsciously, or maybe they don't talk about it, those will be implicit racism. Very good. So that's a good example. Racism can be both. What else? Or you can give me some explicit example for what's a blatant racism, what's an implicit racism. What kind of behavior will tell you that?
So would explicit be like choosing who to hire based on race just because you?
Choosing who to hire. Very good, very good. So that's a behavior. However, what if I think that I'm being fair,
Yeah.
but in reality, I'm picking more white applicants than black applicants, or the opposite. Right now, it's like the opposite. People want to be diverse.
Yeah.
They might want to pick people of color more than white people, maybe consciously or unconsciously. So if I don't realize it, that would be which one? Implicit. And if I realize it, I know that I'm picking white people more often, and I'm still doing it, and I just don't tell other people. That would be explicit, right? Pretty good. What else? Yes.
Those tests where you like match the positive and negative words, that would be implicit.
Could you expand on that?
Like we were talking about in another class period where you have to like quickly match like either like a group of people or whatever it is that you're trying to test your biases on to positive and negative words.
Mm-hmm. So you're talking about the implicit association test. So we're measuring response time, response latency. If we try to pair, I'm going to talk about that in more details in the next couple slides. But so basically, you're measuring response time if I pair a certain group with positive words easier than the other, means that I have a stronger preference towards that group. And I might notice it, I might not notice it. Pretty good implicit attitude. Yeah.
So would our tastes and preferences fall under implicit? Like someone's attracted to, like if someone's more attracted to brunettes or blondes?
So taste, you're talking about being attracted to.
Yeah. Or like food as well.
Food, okay. I think it can be both too, right? Because if you know that I only like blonde girls, and you're explicit about it, you're consciously aware of that.
Yeah.
That will be explicit. But if you have, like, let's say, example, you have 10 girlfriends, and when you look back on your photos, all of them are blondes. Now you realize, oh, actually, I might like blondes, and that will be implicit. Yeah. So it can be both. Can you think of any like specific example, only explicit or only implicit? I'll give you one example. This is a typical example that we use. Back in the days when people had KKK, that's just explicit, right? They know that they don't like people of color, and then they actually behave on that, based on that belief. Okay, so that will be explicit, and implicit will be nowadays a lot of people don't realize they prefer certain groups. So what else? It should be pretty straightforward. I might give you some examples on exam as well, so I want you to be able to distinguish. Yeah.
Perhaps gender. So,
Mhm.
the way that we are raised, little girls play with pink toys and little boys play with blue toys, or we have this attitude towards gender and color too. I mean, pink for girls and blue for boys, even though it used to be opposite. So perhaps that could fall into both in some ways.
Very good. I think that's usually it's kind of implicit, right? We don't really realize, oh, boys are wearing blue. Or we realize it, but we don't really care because it's such a norm. I didn't know that was the opposite, but very good example. Okay, let's see. Online students, Sandy says that explicit is saying something racist. Implicit is walking away or avoiding a certain person based solely on their race. Explicit is saying something is racist. Is saying something racist.
I think either of those examples can go either way.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking, because when you say something that's racist, you might not realize it, right? I had that a lot. Freaking, man. Especially when you're in a basketball court, I think people just don't care. What else? Implicit, walking away. Yeah, but it can be both. On the exam, I will try to make it very clear which is which. All right. Okay, next, I would like to have a discussion. Which type of attitude is stronger, implicit or explicit? And give me reasons why you think which one is stronger. All right, go ahead And for online students, I will give you a breakout room.
Can't control it.
Yeah, it's like, it's like embedded in you, that's not gonna change. Explicit, like, you could have a bad experience one day, but like, if it, like this chair, if I hated it today, I could come back tomorrow and be like, this is a great chair, you know?
Cause I feel like with an explicit bias, if you know the reason why you dislike something, it's easier to change your opinion on it or to like see the other side and be like, oh, I never thought of it that way or something like that. But if you're unaware, you're unaware of like your strong dislike for something, then like that'll never change. Unless you become aware of it, in which case then it becomes explicit.
When is the second appointment again?
Next Friday.
Okay. I was like, oh, this Friday, right?
No.
Okay.
No, God.
I know.
I figure we just split it up like,
Yeah.
oh, one person can do,
Yeah, I started working on like the, like, I don't even know what it's called, it's like the consent form or whatever,
Yeah.
like, basically,
that's
you're
right.
18 years old, or this is what the experiment is.
I can do the parts that like more lend themselves to like stats and experimental design. Because like I'm taking classes on that.
Okay.
Are you guys done? Okay, that was quick. All right, I'm gonna close the breakout room and then I'll let them exit and we can talk about it. I don't like that it waits like a whole minute to close the room. I'm going to maybe faster if I just join. No. How do I join?
I think you can go on your settings, like, on your like Zoom thing,
Uh-huh.
and change it to 30 seconds.
Okay.
But like, not in the meeting itself, but like on the Zoom database.
Okay. I'll do that after class. It's annoying. Okay, I think they're out, maybe? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. So, someone tell me, which one's stronger, in your opinion, implicit or explicit? Yes.
we thought implicit was stronger because you're unaware of why you feel something or that you feel something about something. Whereas we figured with explicit, when you're very aware of why you like or dislike something, your mind can be changed because you know how you feel about it. But when it's implicit and you're unsure, your mind can't even be changed if you're unaware.
Okay. Okay. So y'all think that implicit stronger? Okay. I have some thoughts. I'll hold that and then I'll let you guys. Go ahead. Yep.
I personally think explicit is stronger because you're having to consciously make decisions and make choices affirms your beliefs inside and just like straight.
Okay. I don't know if online students heard. So you're saying explicit is stronger because you have to make conscious choice, decisions, and then you said something else.
So it's just like affirms whatever you believe in, it just confirms that you feel that.
Okay. 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 Yep.
I think by making conscious, I think explicit is stronger too, because by making conscious choices, you're able to justify your own opinion more by giving reasons why it's correct.
Very good. Very good. Trying to remember names. You're Jonathan? Okay, good. So we have some explicit, some explicit. Let's see. Online students. Well, so she says that I feel like explicit will be stronger, but implicit will be harder to change, right? Which type of attitude is used more in daily life? What do you guys think?
Implicit?
Implicit? Why?
Because you don't have like the energy or time to like consciously think about everything day would be.
Very good, very good. So I think did we mention this? Like a lot of stuff that 90% or something like that, we don't consciously think about it because it preserves our cognitive energy. Yeah. Okay. All right. So those are good points. Those are good points. I agree with both. There's no correct answer here. Which one's stronger? But my thoughts about when you say implicit is stronger, I think we will talk about this next class or the class after, is sometimes you can change your attitudes by changing your behavior. So even if you're racist, even if you don't realize it, but you just keep telling yourself that I'm not racist, I'm not racist, I like everyone, I like everyone. And then eventually it might change your attitudes later on. However, I also think that implicit attitudes are very strong as well because sometimes you just don't realize you have it and then it's influencing all your behavior, your thoughts. So very good, very good. So, okay, so next, implicit versus explicit attitudes. They can match or mismatch. We kind of talked about this, right? So this is a meme. Did you get it? Okay. At first I didn't get it. I didn't see this sad face here. But once I got it, it's pretty funny. So I'm gonna give you one more example. So let's say if I don't care about recycling at all, be like, I just don't care about recycling. However, I still recycle every day because my neighbors or my friends, they all recycle. So that would be an implicit and explicit attitude are conflicted. Right? And another example would be, let's say I don't like a group of people, or I don't like certain people, but I pretend that I like them when I'm around them. That would be implicit. It's different from explicit. And now I want you to think of some examples like that. Did you have any experience that your implicit attitude is different from your explicit attitude? Yeah, that's a question. Oh, repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Oh, sorry. So give me some examples that your implicit attitude is different from your explicit attitude. It can based on your personal experience. It can based on your observation. And there won't be any judgments. So I'm not gonna judge you for I don't know. Sometimes people think that, oh, you're not genuine, right? If you are like that, people think that you're being very fake. But, well, this is a very normal mechanism that we use every day. So no one's gonna judge. If you want to discuss, you can do that as well. So Riley asked a question. In your recycling example, would not caring about recycling be the implicit attitude? I think that's explicit because he's aware of not caring. That was a bad example. So what I was trying to say is like deep down, you don't care about recycling, and you're not aware. The reason that I said it that way is because I want to make a contrast. But let's imagine that I don't know that I don't care about recycling. I just see everyone's doing it, and then I'm doing it. Good question, though. Good question. I will try to find better examples for the exam question. Okay. being very silent. You're tired. All right. Yes.
What I realized of myself a little while ago was I thought that I really loved like cake or like birthday cake and stuff like that, but really I didn't.
Like,
And so I actually prefer like pie with ice cream rather than cake with ice cream for a birthday.
okay.
And so
Could you explain like what will be your implicit attitude was that,
you like pie.
oh, okay, so you like pie, and then you express your attitude as you like cake.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you realize
Yeah.
the difference.
And
Okay.
so when I was younger, my grandmother, like when I was really little, my grandmother would make a blackberry cobbler for every birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got a little bit older, suddenly we switched to doing cake. And it's like, oh, I love cake.
Mhm.
It's a dessert. It's birthday. Birthday's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But really, I like pie because I was so used to her as when I was little.
All right, good. Well, it's a good example. I understand you guys are tired. So just make sure you can come up with examples, and when you see the examples, you can recognize it. And go to sleep early. It's healthy. All right. Okay. So now a quick question. Why do we sometimes display attitudes that we don't hold? Yes.
I mean, I am living with like two girls that are like my age and I've known them for a while now. So I know sometimes like I don't always agree with everything that they believe, but I find myself like still doing it just because like I'm around them so often. It just kind of rubs off on me.
Mm-hmm. Why?
I feel like it's almost like an unconscious thing. Like it's not something like I'm trying to be like them. It's just kind of like I'm always around them.
Okay.
And so it just kind of happens.
Okay. So you're like being influenced. Okay. What else?
I think like just what Francis was saying, like the social situation, like sometimes it's just easier to kind of like play along to make like a deal about it. Like, like I don't agree with that, you know, like.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, to like fit in, sometimes I feel like we say we agree with certain things or have an attitude about something when really you don't feel that way, just so you can fit in.
Yeah. So you want to fit in. You don't want to stand out, right? You don't want to say, "Hey, I disagree with you," and then people be like, "What are you talking about?" So everyone likes Drake, and if you say, "I don't like him," people be like, "What's wrong with you?" And you don't want to deal with that, right? So that would be kind of like social desirability, or you want to look good, like you don't care about recycling, but you recycle, so people will be like, "Hey, good for you." By the way, recycling is good. So recycle if you don't like it. It's so hard to recycle here in College Station. They need to change that.
They used to have bins at my school.
Uh-huh.
College Station High School down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And they would have recycling bins, and some teachers would use them, and some teachers were like adamantly against them for some reason.
Really?
They were like, just throw it in the trash, just said it's not even worth it. But then some teachers were like, every single assignment, like if you don't want your assignment, throw it in the recycling bin, don't leave the class. And it was very strange. It was either they absolutely loved them and it was full every time you walked into the room, and other teachers were like adamantly against it.
They need education on that. Recycling is good. And one thing you might not know is that when people at the garbage place, they actually have to handpick what to recycle. Let's make other people's life easier. Just recycle better. And it's harder to recycle here because we don't have so many people. We don't have so many laborers to do that. And we end up wasting a lot of stuff. And a lot of trash, they get sent to other countries, like Philippines, like China, and then the cheap labor over there will sort out the garbage. So yeah, recycle is good. Social desirability and social appearance. Sometimes you want to look good, or you want to look desirable, and then you show certain behavior. it might get a little bit political right now, but I'm gonna still talk about it. Right now, a lot of people would talk about, oh, Black Lives Matter, or certain views. Hey, if you don't agree with them, people will like, why don't you care about this? So sometimes people would tend to post stuff that they don't really care about, just to look good on social media. I don't know if you're aware of that, but some people do that. And that's for social appearance. No questions? We're good? All right, we're good. Okay, so how do we justify our attitudes? There was a study, is that we tried to ask the attitudes towards relationship. So what they did is they asked participants who are in a romantic relationship about their partner. So for group 1, they asked the participants to give an overall evaluation of the attitude. So they just need to say, did they have a good attitude, a positive attitude, or a negative attitude towards their partner. For group 2, they had to list the reasons why they felt that way. So you need to give the attitude, whether it's positive or negative, and then you will need to list your reasons for why you feel that way. Okay? And then they check the relationship satisfaction 9 months later. What they found is for group 1, so who are giving just the overall evaluation, were more satisfied, then those people need to list out the reasons. Okay. So do you know why? I don't think it's in the textbook, but I'll just read it to you. So participants who needed to come up with reasons found themselves inconsistent with their initial feelings about their relationship. So they would change their attitudes in the direction of those reasons. So let's say you feel positive about your partner, but now I'm asking you to give me reasons, and you can't find any. You'll be like, maybe I don't feel that way, and then you change your attitude. Does that make sense? Okay, good. So the underlying reason is that we sometimes misinterpret why we have attitude. And often it's hard to pin down our reasons for having an attitude. Sometimes we just feel that way. So what's the lesson here? Is stop bugging your partner with the question, why do you love me? Why do you love me? And then you ask them to give you reasons. And eventually they'll be like, maybe I don't like you that much. And it's gonna mess up your relationship. So stop asking that question. It's gonna damage your relationship. All right, that's the lesson. Any questions? Yes. Picture? I type animal question and Google it. I don't know, I find that cute. Better than I have a question mark. All right. Okay, so how do we measure attitudes? When we measure explicit attitudes, we can use Likert scale. We can use behavioral observation. For implicit attitudes, we can use the implicit attitude test. Sometimes we call it the implicit association test. And that's to measure our response latency, so the response reaction time. Okay. So because we didn't talk about implicit attitude tests in details, I'm going to show you a video which kind of give you a detail about this. So how many of you done this? 1, 2, okay, only 2 of you? Okay.
In order to measure these subconscious attitudes, psychologists created the Implicit Association Test, or IAT. The test has been taken online by over 2 million people. We asked 6 people to take the IAT about race for the very first time.
I'm actually pretty excited about taking this test. I have no doubts that I have some sort of racist tendencies like everybody else on the planet.
I'm afraid of where I grew up that it's going to reflect on the test even though I don't want it to. I don't think I'm racist, but this test might tell me that I am. I'd like to know so I can, I don't know, change my ways.
Okay, they're just presenting me with small amounts of faces and asking me to identify if they're basically white or black people. Dangerous.
Is racial profiling?
I'm also looking at the notice. Test feels a little weird.
It's making me uncomfortable. I'm up already.
It's weird because there's like, the words are also associated with the pictures. European is also on top of that right now.
The left side is African American or bad, the right side is European American or good. I feel like it's trying to trick my mind into thinking that these words are associated with these faces. I feel like I'm getting accepted.
Weird.
Oh, I get a lot of them.
This is mind games.
I can feel my heartbeat going faster and faster and faster.
I don't know why I have to think so hard to do this.
Oh, I'm getting really angry.
This is exactly what society tells you.
It's making me very excited.
Got my results.
Your automatic preference may be described as slight, moderate, strong, or little to no preference.
Your data suggests slight automatic preference for African American compared to European American.
Your data suggests a strong automatic preference for European American compared to African American.
Your data suggests a slight automatic preference for African American compared to European American.
I don't know why
Your
it's
data
so
suggests a
funny.
slight automatic preference for European American.
In order to match.
So you get the idea, right? So I'm gonna give you an extra credit opportunity is to take one of the IAT and write about your thoughts. It can be a couple of sentences. There are different types of IAT on this website. It's from Harvard. And you can submit your reflection on eCampus using the week 4 folder. It should be there. And it's due tonight. It shouldn't take too much time. How long did it take for you?
Only a couple of minutes, under 10, I think.
Yeah, so a couple minutes. Be pretty easy. And just tell me what you learned about this or what you learned from this. There's no word limit, so extra credit opportunity. All right, I think that's it. Any questions before we end the class? We good? All right.